Sliceable cash __. Said atom stop. Before you move a fucking muscle, watch this video. Asterisk asterisk asterisk.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another round of the NTCC Championship. We are now on round 11 and we are going to Japan today to Suzuka Circuit East, the short circuit. Before we get into the race, let's have a look at the championship standings. So as we look over the championship standings, you'll notice a definitive lead for MJ Scatters out the front, 90 points clear of V Papa AT, aka Daddy. Daddy is closely followed by Rugworth with 238 points. After last week, he has been relegated from the second spot on the leaderboard to third after being consistent all season. The newcomer to the season, Daddy or V Papa AT, has had some excellent performances and has slowly clawed his way up to that P2 position. Unfortunately, I don't think it's possible to catch MJ Scatters. His point advantage is just a bit too much at this point. But he's done an excellent job to get to where he is now so far this season. We find Aussie Hypnotic in P4, tied on points with Ando for 4th and 5th position respectively. 234 points, 4 points short of Rugworth in P3. So Considering the form that Ando has been in this season, we can expect him to potentially catapult himself up into P3 tonight. He is, however, 30 points behind Daddy, which is a race win and a DNF for Daddy away, so we're probably not going to see him claw his way back to P2. Slappers Mate, your reigning champion, is on 214 points in P6. Rioff in the BMW on 196. Chops, after performing in every race so far this season, finds himself in 8th, ahead of Cosmic Spirit and Mickez, completing the top 10. Night King finds himself in P11 with Nismo 86 Oz, or 86 ounces of Nismo behind him in the RCF with 108 points. Fine Doctor, who we didn't see last week, on 79 points in P13. Chickamak on 68. Renegade finds himself in 15th after missing a couple of rounds. Chef Todd in 16th. Boslington, Aussie Roadrunner, Shiami, Haskins, Cheese Pizza, and Benjo GLR have not performed at most rounds this season and will probably not be extending their points any further today. But that is a summary of the points as they sit. That's a summary of the points as they sit at the moment. So a dominating lead for MJ Scatters out front. But I've just had news that MJ Scatters will not be participating in this round today. So if there was ever an opportunity to steal that lead away from that man, today's the day. 30 points on offer to whoever can finish in P1 today. And 0 points on offer for MJ Scatters, who will not be competing. So that could really shake things up. Whoever wins, be it Daddy or Ando, will close that gap to... I've forgotten the name now. Close the gap to MJ Scatters by a considerable margin. Unsure exactly how much it'll be, and it all depends on who wins, of course, as there are differences in the standings as they sit at the moment. But it could make for a high-stakes race and a lot of pressure on those guys to perform to get themselves up the field as much as possible. So we'll head shortly to qualifying, as they have got that underway now for you. But they appear to be having a couple of little technical difficulties as they get that underway. But we'll be heading over there very shortly. Welcome to the stream, V Papa AT, and Ando and Cosmic Spirit. So yes, MJ Scatter's not racing today, so a big opportunity for the guys who are not far behind at the moment to catch back up a little bit at the moment. And a very, very different race for us today, a very short course, about 45 seconds a lap. So we could see people being lapped, we could see some very close racing. I'm unsure of the lap count at the moment, but we're looking like we're in for a treat today, I think. Alright, so we'll switch over now. This is the qualifying as it sits after a slight technical delay. We are looking at Rioff currently out on track first. I'm just going to have to... There we go. Wrong one. There we go. So there have been red flags just down to the technical difficulties they were having. So we're going to bring them back into the pits, and we'll look at restarting again. A couple of people trying to take advantage of the PLS glitch with the bot. Good to see you guys in here. Oh, I actually spotted quickly there. I quickly spotted on Rioff's livery. I think it's a change. I think it's a change to the livery. I'm not sure if it was there before or not, but he's running a standard Red Bull livery that he always runs on his BMW, but there's a little NTCC logo just under the Red Bull logo, which I think is quite a good touch if he's added that on just for that reason. So yeah, looking good. So they are setting up a restart for qualifying. It's going to be a 10-minute qualifying session here, so plenty of time for people to put laps in, considering it's a very, very short track. And we'll be seeing sub 45-second laps, I think, out of this track. It's going to be quite a short one, or sub 50 seconds at the very least. So, who's in? Chops, catching my first stream. Welcome in, mate. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Participating in the action. We were just discussing the standings and the way they're looking at the moment. We'll take us back over there now, actually, because I've got a couple more people here just to discuss that one, seeing as we're having a restart of quali. So here are the standings as they sit at the moment. So as I was saying before, there's a 90-point gap between P1 and P2, and it looks like MJ Scatters pretty much has this league all but sewn up for the season, although we can expect that gap to come down today because he is not racing. So if Daddy wins the race today, he could close that gap down to 60 points. I'm unsure how many points are on offer for the final race of the season, but that could make it very, very close indeed. Rugworth close behind, 26 points short of Daddy at the moment in that RCF. We've been talking about him a little bit for the last couple of rounds. Surprising to see him so high up the order, but it's that consistency and always turning up to these races that have really rewarded him and pushed him to that P3 on the leaderboard at the moment. He is closely followed, however, by Aussie Hypnotic and by Ando, both on 234 points, only 4 points adrift of Rugworth in that RCF. So, very, very likely that one of those guys may leapfrog him into that podium position, but Rugworth will not be taking that lying down. He'll be looking for any opportunity to keep that spot and stay where he is. So what do we got going on? We're still watching the quali at the moment, but we're having a couple of issues with the restart as it sits at the moment. We won't be far away from getting that back underway. How's everybody doing today? How's everyone feeling? I've got a couple of people in here who are competing tonight. How's everyone feeling about the race? Who reckons they can change things up and get a bit further ahead on the leaderboard and shake up those standings today? 9 people watching already. That's cool, man. Not something we expect around here, but it's good to have a whole lot of people tuning into an event like this. It is a good event, and we're happy to be part of it. Right, there we go. Starting up a new lobby. Thank you, Chops, for the follow. Thanks for jumping in. Sorry about that. No, that's no problem, mate. It's all good. I don't have anywhere to be. I'm just here doing my thing. We've been discussing the leaderboard as it sits and that sort of thing, and it's looking like it's going to be an exciting shake-up towards the end of the season. And the fact that that MJ Scatters is not racing, while it's a shame for him, it could make it possible for a couple of these guys to close up on the back of him for points. You keen for Nations tonight? Going to be a fun one around Bathurst and an SF. Yes, I'm very excited. I'm also very nervous because I've made the top 16 superstars and I am going to get annihilated. So that's going to be fun. But I feel like I've prepared about as well as I can, so it's yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes, though. We will see how it goes. Right, let's get back in here. Nat, welcome to the stream, mate. T1 going to be hectic as it's a grid start. Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. I think we are going to have some issues with T1 for sure, especially in those lower lobbies. So you got to make sure you stay out of that, eh? Because that's going to cause you problems. Hey, boss, how you doing, mate? Welcome to the stream. Glad you caught me before I got into commentate mode, where I can't really read too much of the chat. Hope you're doing well, mate. Hope you're having a good day. And not working. Not working would be nice. Commentating, yes. Yes. Commentating on the National Touring Car Championship. As we do every Saturday. Brilliant stuff. Where are we? We want race info on. Cool. Alright. Yamalji now got to AS this week. Nice! We love that. Well done, mate. Good to see you there. Now you got to get into the 40,000s for the DR. I'm working 6 days a week. Oh, mate. Me too, though. Me too, though. I worked this morning. But thankfully only half a day. So it's all good. So, back at a new lobby. Everyone's just getting entered and getting set up for the race. Or for qualifying, rather. Which will be taking off very, very shortly. The World Touring Car Championship next season. Yes, so Nat, if you want to get involved, we are now going global for this particular series. Although I'm guessing you're at work at the moment, which means it's probably not gonna work for your time frame wise. So you get the moolahs and the monies. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. That 6 day week doesn't feel good until payday, does it? Yeah. So you're more than welcome to enter the series, Nat, and get involved, of course. But I think it's probably not going to line up with your time schedule as it sits. But the offer's there, and for anyone else around the world who wants to get involved in the series, next season we're going global. And we've only got this round and one more round to go afterwards. So not far away from Season 3 at all. Season 3 is going to be even bigger and better. Last season they didn't have a stream, they didn't have a commentator, and this season they've stepped up the game. They've widened the range of the event itself, and next season it's going to be even bigger and even better. So it's going to be great. Is there a Discord for it? Yes, there is actually. Cosmic Spirit, do you want to see if you can drop the Discord link in the chat? I'm going to have a look and see if I can share it, but I'm not sure if non-admin can actually share it. But we'll have a look-see and find out. Times might change next season. Okay, all right. Hopefully not too much, because this time does work for me, and I'll be gutted if I have to miss it. But that's no problem. I'm sure things will need to be adjusted to cater for the people around the world who will be competing. Where are we? So we're looking for NTCC. Invite. Where is the awesome Nat? There you are. There you go, mate. I've sent you an invitation to the Discord, Nat, so you can get involved. Oh yeah, add a command. Good. Good, good, good. Would you kindly share the link for Discord so I can add the command for League? I have... I've sent you an invite, Nat, so you will have that Discord link now, I presume, so you can get yourself involved and get that command going if you like. That's all set up now. Gotta be quick around here, mate. Gotta be quick. We're all racers here. Yeah, so he'll be jumping in there. Adam is pretty fast, eh? Whee! Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. Speaking of controller, you mentioned you're not feeling too flash on the controller. What's happening with the wheel, mate? How are we looking? Are we gonna get it back up and running? Are we getting ourselves a new one, or wasn't it like a really long wait for the one coming in? You were gonna get another Logitech, and it was like a overseas bloody thing. Gonna have to come to you after a while. No good. Wheels coming next year, that's right. Cool. Well, next year is the next season of this, so every opportunity to get yourself involved once you're on the wheel again, mate. But good opportunity for you to take a step back while you haven't got a wheel and maybe get into something like this, like commentary, because there's nothing better really. So this is coming home from overseas karting, so that's oh so juicy. 9:23. Oh, so she's bringing it with her, is she? Good stuff. Good stuff. Good setup. Overseas karting. So you got racing in the family, mate. How good. doing some commentary on Chads, but mod work is where I'm at the best at the moment. True. We do love a bit of your mod work, mate. It's always good. Some of the best in the business, in fact. So, love to have you about, and we all appreciate having you on board. That's for sure. But yeah, commentary can be a little bit of a side thing for you, maybe. I don't know. It's good, man. Commentary can be good fun. Although I've noticed it really takes it out of me a little bit. It's a lot harder than I expected, particularly with the longer races. Racing's just you, but sister supports your sim endeavours. Oh, true. Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, my family's not too much about the racing side of things either. Only motorsport I ever had was on a Sunday afternoon when my dad put the motorsport highlights on the free TV channels, because we didn't have any of the paid sports channels and things like that. That was all we got, and I wasn't really too interested in it at the time, because it was all jumbled. There was nothing to follow. Like I couldn't just follow it because it was it was different every week. It wasn't the same race. I couldn't just follow a series for 6 weeks because the motorsport on a Sunday would be different stuff every week. So it was not involved enough for me to get excited about it. Same with football. Football I wasn't interested in growing up. I only developed an interest at about 17 years old. Only racing I get in real life is moped versus everybody in traffic. Oh yeah, mate. Love a bit of that. It's good stuff, man. Yeah. Speaking of real life, I need to take I'm taking my car out for a bit of a fang tonight, so that should be a good bit of fun. But anyway, we're going to switch over to the race screen now. So we are mid-qualifying, and we've got a couple of drivers about to set their first lap. Daddy goes with a 48.4, and Rioff beats him to it with a 48.0. Slappers as well, even faster with the first 47 of the day. A couple of guys coming across the line at the moment, setting their banker laps as it sits. So less than 8 minutes left on the qualifying time for these guys to get themselves sorted and get through it. Slapper's rocking an updated NTCC champion livery. Love a bit of that. Fine Doctor gets himself up to P2 on the leaderboard. And Subaru working for him around here, it seems. Interesting course this one for these cars, because obviously we've got a good number of Aston Martins around this group. So they're obviously a power car, and this track I think is gonna really reward the mid-engine handling cars, particularly in the S's. So it's potentially going to be a bit of a shake-up today. So important to note, Daddy, one of our favourite drivers, currently competing, one of the ones who's been performing to the very front of the field a lot lately after joining late into the season, finds himself in P6 at the moment. Only less than 5/10 off the lead, of course, but around a track like this, 5/10 can be a lot of time. So it'll be interesting to remain watching him and see if he can bring himself up a bit closer to the top as this qualifying session goes on. As well as Danny, we've actually got Ando here, someone else who's been performing right at the top of the field lately in this series, in P9. And just a quick note as well, he's got himself a flash new livery with the purple and red that we're used to seeing from him. I actually spoke to him the other day about his livery after I discussed it a little bit on stream. And he mentioned to me that, so the Gridline boys, the Gridline racing team that he races for, they have a livery man, and he gets from them an accent colour that perhaps means something to them, or is perhaps their favourite colour, to add to their livery that they get, their team livery. So this is a new and updated team livery, a lot more black than red, which is not something that we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing a white livery with a lot of red on it, usually the Qantas logo. for Ando. So he's got the Qantas logo there still, but it's mostly a black livery with the red over the bonnet and the roof. So a bit of a change up for him this week. So the black and the red and the white are the Gridline Racing colours. The purple there is his accent colour that he chose out of his own interest. And he told me the meaning behind the purple is it's like the purple sector or the purple lap time. So that's just that little bit of extra push for him. If he wears the colour purple, it means he's got to be that guy setting the purple sectors and setting the purple laps. So a very cool choice there, and it actually goes quite well with the rest of the colour scheme. I was a big fan of his last livery, the white, red and purple on this car, but he's changed it up this week, and I do quite like this one. It's a bit more intricate. It looks plain from a distance, but if you look up close, you see on the rear quarter there's some very, very complex designs there that someone's obviously put a lot of time into. It looks very, very cool, and I am a big, big fan of the 787 on the side there, the symmetry that he's got going on there, like his own personal logo. Very, very cool. So switching back again, we've seen Ando move himself up to P8 on the standings as it sits, and Daddy here with an updated livery as well, so he's changed up his livery for the week also. So it looks like in the last week or so there's been a couple of updates to liveries at the moment. So Daddy running his custom livery, the Papa livery, the Daddy livery that he's got going on, and he's just added a NTCC logo to the right hand door. So a very cool touch, a very nice addition to the livery. Good to see guys representing the championship while competing in the championship. Makes for a bit of a change, makes for some added involvement for guys, and a bit of representation for the championship. So right on the back of Daddy at the moment is Aussie Hypnotic, who is actually above him on the standings as it sits, and he's updated his livery as well. So this is a bit of a changed one. He seems to change his every week as well. So an NTCC specific livery on his car, which is looking pretty good. It's got the PlayStation logo on the front, and he's got the PlayStation decals over the doors and the rear quarters, and the black and green of the NTCC colours. So looking pretty good and looking very representative of the championship as it sits. Then he comes across the line, as does Aussie Hypnotic. They don't improve their times at the moment. Moving up the order, Rugworth in P4 at the moment in the Lexus. So he's rocking a TKR livery at the moment, representing New Zealand as patriotically as you really can. So the Lexus looks like it's performing pretty well around this track at the moment. Not exactly a handling car, but a very, very good all-round car, the Lexus. So good to see it performing up the top of the field as it should. Oh, and there we go. There's what we were looking for. Ando sets a 48.276 to elevate himself into P4 on the standings at the moment. So that's a good bit of progress for the Aston Martin driver. God, I can't get enough of that livery, man. It looks bloody amazing, I tell you. Get the Qantas badge on the winglets of the wing, or the side panels. I'm trying to think of the correct name for those, but looks very good nonetheless. Love to see it. Up in P3, re-off in the BMW, so another handling car sitting pretty up at P3 at the moment, performing well at this track. Rugworth improves again, but cannot quite get past Ando, so Ando set himself a decent time there, giving himself a bit of a buffer so he doesn't drop too far back down the field. Fine Doctor in P2, not somewhere we're used to seeing him at all. He's been a long way down the order a lot of times lately. Not up the top, but he's found himself in P2 here after a good qualifying so far. Only a minute of time left on the qualifying clock, so it's going to take a lot to unseat him, I think, but we'll see what the other guys will try to do. He's currently got himself not quite a sub 48, but he's very close, so he'll potentially be looking to crack those 48s and potentially take pole position here. But pole position, or provisional pole at the moment, is on the shoulders of the reigning champion at the moment. Slapper's mate 117 in the Beetle. The Beetle, a very, very good handling car, and will be performing very, very well around this track. So good to see him up the top and the sharp end of the field. He's been up and down a little bit in terms of form this season. As Slapper's mate, he had 2 victories back to back at the Tokyo Expressway for round, I believe it was round 6 or 7. So he had showing some signs of promise there, but he's had connection issues this season. He's had a couple of races where he's just been a bit off the pace and further down the field, but he's showing his form once again, and he's showing why he wears that NTCC champion livery. Doing a great job at the moment around this Suzuka East course as it sits. Let's see if he improves around his final lap. Here we go then. Round the final corner he comes across the line, takes a wide line, doesn't go for the short line through there. Do we get any other improvements as the others cross the line? Still a couple of people on their final hot lap. I don't think we're going to see too much improvement at the moment. It's looking like everybody very much on their own pace as it sits, and having put down their personal bests early on in the session, just putting in their final laps and getting through qualifying. So Chef Todd's across the line, followed by Aussie Hypnotic, and I think that will bring it into qualifying. Yep, it most certainly does. So, Slappers leads Fine Doctor, leads Rioff. Not the top 3 we were expecting going into this race. So this is going to be a very interesting and a very exciting race, I think. So we go to the grid then for round 11 of the National Touring Car Championship. Slappers leads Fine Doctor, leads Rioff on the top 3, followed closely by Ando, the man who we've seen to the front of the field so much. Crucially, Daddy down in P8. So someone that we were expecting to perform and potentially close that gap to the current championship leader at the moment. Sitting down in 8th place, so not the place he wanted to start at all. But strategy will come into this. It's a 31-lap race. It's plenty long enough, and we have a green light, so we are away racing. Rioff with a fantastic start, gets past Fine Doctor. Fine Doctor seemingly struggling for traction on the line. Slappers mate with a clean run into T1. Oh, but he gets it wrong a little bit. Round the second half of the corner, but not quite enough for Rioff to make a move on him. It's very hard around this track now to make any moves. So we're going to be looking at probably line astern for a short while. Oh, and we've had an off there. We've had an off for Daddy early doors. Let's see if we can catch that on a replay. So we've got a couple of people wide there at T1. Daddy goes round. Oh, not quite the start you wanted to see from these guys. Very unfortunate. Oh, and we've had a bit of a bunch up there as well. Oh, bit of carnage for these guys early doors in this race. So, moving along, we've got Ando down in P12. Whoa, what happened to Ando? Goodness gracious me, there's been some absolute carnage on lap 1. So he's just down a bit. So after that, they've all sorted themselves out of it. But we've got Ando and Daddy down outside the top 10. So big change. Big change. So the order has well and truly been shaken up here. Aussie Hypnotic has taken P2 away from Fine Doctor at some point in the last lap or 2. And he's now got himself up to P2. And he'll now be going in search of Slappers as they head down the main straight, closing that gap down. Coming about under 8 tenths now, so he is just about within slipstream range. But I think due to the handling characteristics of the Beetle versus the Corvette, I think the Beetle will most likely pull away a little bit as they head through the next section of the track. But a lot of work to do for our season leaders all the way back down the field at the moment. Jump back a bit further. Night King, not someone we've talked about too much today, rocking a very cool livery on that Beetle actually, with a Cobra on the rear quarter. Very cool. Love a bit of that. Not too much action going on at the moment down this part of the field. Or we've got an overtake from Chef Todd on Benjo GLR. Oh, they're side by side through the final 2 corners, but they both make it through. No one goes off track quite. So some decent racing from the two of them, although a cut track penalty for Chef Todd there, probably undeserved, but just have to burn it off as the race goes on. But he's in a position now to look to get by Benjo at some point through the next lap. So through turn 1 they go again. Everyone's seemingly struggling with turn 1 on this track at the moment. There's Ando and V Papa AT behind these guys at the moment. Oh, we've had an off there. We've had a big off there for Benjo GLR 19. Let's have a look and see if we can catch that on a replay. So Benjo heading towards the S's. Does he get it slightly wrong? He does. He puts 2 wheels on the dirt and he's got no traction for the next corner. So he goes off and he drops himself down to last place and 13th on the standings. So not the start that Benjo will have wanted here coming on to lap 5. Back up the front of the field though, we've got Aussie Hypnotic with Fine Doctor and Rugworth in close pursuit. Let's see if we can catch that and see what happened there. Rugworth was ahead of Fine Doctor at the beginning of the lap, but they were coming to blows here. As Rugworth gets it wrong through the first part of the S's, perhaps slowing up for Aussie Hypnotic in front and allows Fine Doctor to close up a little bit and get right onto the back of the rim. But they're right on top of each other now as they come around to start lap number 6 of this race. That Lexus looking very racy at the moment as they head round for the 6th time. Down the main straight they go. Pulls out to the outside, does Rugworth, looking for an outside move around T1, which allows Fine Doctor up the inside, which he takes advantage of, and that looks like it might be position change for these two. No, they stay side by side. They're going into the S's. Rugworth takes the position back, and he's back up into P3, and crucially that podium position that he wants so much. Now this race, actually, now considering the standings, Rugworth we've talked about, he's in P3 on the standings at the moment with 234 or 38 points rather, closely followed by, I think it was Ando and one other driver. There was one other driver. They're both on 234 points. Aussie Hypnotic in front of them there. So this is crucial to the race at the moment. Rugworth and Aussie Hypnotic are battling essentially for a podium position in the standings come the end of this race, unless we can see some magic from Ando and some fight back as the race goes on towards the end. He may come back into this and potentially steal some of those points away. But as it sits, Rugworth looks to extend his gap to Ando behind, which we were expecting to see completely change this race. But given the track combination and the ability of the Aston Martin around this track, it looks like Rugworth's got a very good opportunity here to secure that P3. Welcome Ranger Oz. Guys, we have a celebrity in our midst today. Welcome to the stream, Ranger Oz. Thank you very much for the follow, mate. You're joining us for the NTCC, the National Touring Car Championship, round 11 here at Suzuka East Course. Group 3 cars only. Just to give you an understanding of how the championship works, they picked a car at the start of the season, they run with that car through to the end of the season, and we're looking at currently an interesting battle on track that could have serious implications to the final standings at the end of the series. Not sure about celebrity, he says. Mate, any top split driver is a celebrity to us. We're all plebs here. May I suggest you a timer with Nightbot when you do commentary? Yes, I think that will probably be a good thing to do. If you've got, you don't have access to Nightbot, do you? Because you can adjust that if you like, but yes, I do know how to do that, and I can get into that at a later date, but that's a good idea. But yeah, usually I am keeping focus on the race, which we'll head back to now, because Rugworth is looking like he wants to make a move on Aussie Hypnotic. He goes to the inside of the end of T1, and they're side by side coming up to the S's. A little bit of a lag spike there for those drivers, but Rugworth takes P2 away, and that is very, very important for the championship as a whole, because now Rugworth is looking like he's going to extend that gap in the points between himself and Aussie Hypnotic. To remind you, Rugworth goes into this round with 238 points on the leaderboard. Aussie Hypnotic is right behind him on 234 points. So 4 points separating the two drivers. We're expecting to see Aussie Hypnotic and Ando as well, crucially further down the field, take that P3 away from Rugworth this race, but due to the combo and the handling of the cars and just the ability of the Lexus on track at the moment, Rugworth seems to be looking like he's going to keep that position and potentially re-extend that gap to a much bigger one than it was before. We've seen him slowly, as the season's gone on, drop a little bit further down the field. Currently in P3. Last week he was in P2, but he's been overtaken by Daddy, who joined the series a little bit late on. But it's looking like he might have an opportunity to secure a podium position in the standings for the series tonight. So the gap to Slappers, mate, your reigning NTCC champion from last season, showing why he wears that champion livery. 2.8 seconds to Rugworth at the moment. So really coming together for the reigning champion this race. So this could be a good opportunity for him as well to shake up the order and get himself a bit further back under, because we haven't seen the form from him lately. He's been a little bit off the pace, as we've seen, but really showing what he's made of here today as he absolutely dominates this race. Look at the gap, it's gone up by 0.3 over the course of this lap, or the course of the S's. 0.4 now. He's going absolutely mental, this man. So we'll see if strategy comes into play here. Perhaps he's on a better tyre than the guys behind him, but looking like he's got it fairly sewn up at the moment, does this driver. Oh, we've had an off, actually. We have had an off at the final corner. We'll head back. What's happened here? Aussie Hypnotic follows through Rugworth. Who else have we got? Someone's gone off there. Someone's wide in the final corner. Was it Night King? I think it was. We'll have a look through it once again. So Night King comes through the final corner. Does he have any issues as he heads through? I think he does. May have had a slide off, gone a little bit wide out of the final corner. Nothing to report. Oh, there it is. It's Benjo. So it looks like the back marker just getting out of the way of the guys coming through. So awesome to see that from the drivers here on display tonight. So Ando, importantly, has stepped himself up into P7. So the man who's been making such an impression since he joined the series late has pushed himself up out of the fringes of the top 10 into P7 as the race has gone on. So showing that consistently that we know so well of him. Importantly as well, Papa AT, aka Daddy, a fan favourite driver here, has elevated himself into P9 in the race at the moment. So leaving behind a couple of drivers behind him at the moment. He's just looking at working his way back up the field alongside Cosmic Spirit and Ando in front of him. Someone who we know for a fact is very good at those fight backs is Cosmic Spirit himself. He always puts himself on one of those strategies that puts him out the back and then claws his way back up the field as the race goes on. So we can expect these three to make a big impression as the race goes on. Although a little bit of a connection issue there for Cosmic Spirit. Whoa, we've had a little bit of an issue here as well for Ando as he goes through the final corner. So that's put pain to his race at the moment. He writes off that lap and heads into the pits. Let's check out what happened. So he's following through Benjo GLR 19 and he just gets it slightly wrong as he follows him through that corner. For no reason at all. Oh, and Daddy's gone off there as well. Wonder what happened to him. Now that is interesting. So we'll have a look at that again from Daddy's perspective. See if we can piece together exactly what happened. So here we are, finishing off the S's, heading round to the final section. Looks like they may have made the same issue as well. Yeah, he gets it a little bit wrong through there, carries a little bit too much speed, puts two wheels on the AstroTurf, and just cannot quite keep it together. So, Ando writes off the lap. Daddy goes around again, but now he's in as well. On the soft tyres, does he go on to his mediums for his medium stint, or does he stay on the softs once again? I think it's probably a good idea to get rid of those mediums while he can. Although I'm unsure if it's actually worthwhile doing a one lap on the mediums, or whether it's better for the drivers to go for a full stint on them. So he comes out of the pits in P11, goes by Renegade at T1. So it looks like Renegade not really pushing too hard at this stage. Ando also takes that position away from Renegade. I think Renegade might be AFK at the moment, interestingly. Benjo on worn out tyres goes off there, so he's been lapped by all the drivers on the field at the moment, I think. So he is well and truly out of this race. We'll head back to the front where Slapper's mate has extended his lead to 4.2 seconds. We see down there, chops into the pits in his Toyota Supra for his first stop. So 15 laps or 16 laps, it seems, is the go-to for these guys. So we're probably looking at a 2-stop here, I think, for most of these drivers. So 15 odd laps per stint, and then a 1 lap on the mediums, unless they decide to go for a 1-stop instead and go half and half on both tyres. Rugworth, crucially, into the pits, blinks before Slappers does, and might be set to undercut the reigning champion here. So BMW in, as well as Rugworth in P6 in the Lexus. So he comes out onto his medium tyres, as does Rioff, so they both put mediums on, heading out onto the track again. And that's very important, Rioff has kept his position from Aussie Hypnotic and Fine Doctor, who pitted a lap earlier. That's very interesting. So, and that extends, I think, where are we? Rugworth. Rugworth now has a 1-position barrier, or 2-position barrier, between his nearest rival in the championship, Aussie Hypnotic. So he's now got 2 drivers separating him from that particular driver, and he's looking to chase down Night King and Slappers as the race goes on. So, Night King into the pits for his first stop at the end of lap 17. Or, sorry, at the end of lap 16, rather. No, it is lap 17. The graphic didn't change, sorry about that. So Slappers, mate, still out on those soft tyres, although he might be on mediums, actually, now that we think about it. He may have started on the mediums and is just looking to do a 1-stop, because if he is trying to push them as far as he can, he's doing a pretty good job of it at the moment. 18 laps down, and he's still going for sure. 11 seconds to the good at the moment, but he does owe a stop at the very least. Unsure if he's making 1 or if he's making 2. He comes into the pits. What tyres was he on? Let's find out. He was on the softs. He managed to get 18 laps out of those tyres. So in he comes for a fresh set of boots. Rugworth coming around the final corner now on his soft tyres. He's done 2 laps on these fresh softs, which is more than enough to seriously improve his position, but it looks like he's going to come out with a 5 or 6 second gap to Slappers in front. Yes, he is. Although he closes it down as they head towards T1. 4 seconds the gap is now. I believe that's, it's a little bit less than it was when he, it's a little bit less than when he went into the pits, but certainly not enough to change position. 2-lap undercut could have been very severe there for that particular driver. And we've had a change of position down here. Aussie Hypnotic has fallen behind Night King. There may have been a mistake there somewhere, or a little spin that we have missed. But currently sitting pretty in 8th and 9th. Daddy and Ando, 2 very close rivals on the track. We've seen them exchanging blows as this series has gone on. We had Daddy join as early as round 5 in the series, and Ando, I believe, joined 1 week later in round 6. So they've been trading those P1s all season long since then, pretty much exclusively taking every victory between them. But this race, we're looking at a change-up of things here. The Aston Martin seemingly just not strong enough around this particular track. We know it's a good car, and it's a good all-round car, and it does a good job at most tracks, but those S's are proving particularly difficult for it. And that's really bringing the other drivers into contention, which is what we want. We want to see close racing promoted really well around here, and it's very, very exciting to see. So, Rugworth, the man we're all talking about, in P2 at the moment, he's going to be absolutely over the moon with this result if it stays as it is. The only 2 drivers in front of him on the standings are Daddy and MJ Scatters, who's not racing tonight. So Rugworth will close the gap to MJ Scatters a little bit over the course of this race, or with these points, but he's probably not going to get enough to overtake Daddy unless he wins it and Daddy DNFs or finishes dead last, which I don't think we're going to see, because he may be with a car disadvantage. We've got a yellow flag here. Is someone off? Is it important? It's not Slappers, so it's probably not going to make enough of a difference. Although that gap is starting to come down. I think Rugworth, however, is on the soft tyres, and Slappers is on the mediums. So Slappers is good to the end now. Rugworth still has to make 1 more stop. So Rugworth needs to get ahead, and he needs to get clear of Slappers by about 8 seconds, I think, if he wants to win this race. but I don't see it happening. I think he's too far behind to make it happen. He may catch him, he may get by him, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to pull an 8-second gap on Slappers, and those soft tyres will start fading very, very soon. We've got some battling going on here though. Rioff and Fine Doctor looking at trading places as they go through the final section of the S's. Around the final corner they come onto the straight. Fine Doctor in the prime position here with a great opportunity to potentially slingshot past. Ducks into the toe there as Rioff goes slightly defensive. A little bit of weaving on the straight trying to break that toe. Fine Doctor closing in from behind, but that Subaru not looking like it quite has the pace to get by the BMW at this stage. It was very fast through T1. A little tap on the back there for Fine Doctor onto the rear bumper of Rioff. Just letting him know he's there. He's making it difficult for him, making Rioff know that he cannot relax at any point. So, battling through the S's, that Subaru is much faster through this section. It looks like that BMW just has the legs on the straight line and out of those final corners. So, Fine Doctor all over the rear wing of Rioff at the moment. Can he get a better exit? Can he slingshot something into T1? He's looking at making a move. What can he do? Looks to the outside. He doesn't have the pace. He ducks back into the slipstream. A little bit of movement from Rioff in front. Can Fine Doctor make a move? Here he goes. He goes up the inside. Rioff off at T1. That's huge for the race. That's not what we want to see at all. Was there contact? We'll review that very shortly. But the upside is Fine Doctor promotes himself into P3 and can now go in pursuit of Rugworth, because he was getting held up a little bit by that BMW. It was clear that he had a pace advantage, and importantly, Night King up into P4 here in the BMW. We haven't mentioned him too much in the BMW, in the Volkswagen. We haven't mentioned him too much this race because we haven't seen too much from him, but he's above his standard finishing position of 5th, so he'll be very happy with his results so far. If he can keep it where it is, could be a very good result for him. But we'll go back and we'll have a quick look at what happened to Rioff here. We're going to have to look at that again. Going to see, was there contact? Goes to the inside. He just outbrakes himself. He outbrakes himself, can't get turned in. He's trying to give the space to Fine Doctor behind. Just gets it wrong at T1 as we suspected. So good to see clean driving on display. Unfortunate that there was an off there, but he still finds himself in P5, and there's still points to be had this race. This could be championship changing for the BMW driver. So he heads through the final corner and onto the start-finish straight to begin lap 26 of this race. And we've got a bit of a battle going on here now. Fine Doctor, after comfortably getting by the BMW, is potentially going to be looking at making a move on Rugworth here. He's going to close right up at the end of T1 there. He's all over the back of the Lexus driver now, and he's only going to get closer as they go through the S's. The question is, does it have the pace on the straight to get by the Lexus before T1? Because that's pretty much the only passing opportunity on this track, unless he throws something up the inside at this corner or the next. But he's not quite close enough, and he would be foolish to do that as well. That would be a very aggressive move. He looks to the inside, can't quite get it. We'll jump on board with Fine Doctor now as he looks to make a move on Rugworth in front. Rugworth already moving to the inside. He knows he's under threat here. He knows he's getting pressurized by Fine Doctor behind. Fine Doctor looks to the inside. He goes for a late lunge. Wow, that's late. And look at that. Rugworth puts a wheel on the Astro. He just manages to keep it going. He's going to lose a lot of time there, but he's kept it on track and has not lost, crucially, that P3. But we're going to have a look here at Rugworth and see what happened there and see how he was for that position. So Rugworth then, does he get pushed wide? He might get pushed a little bit wide. That might need to be looked at by the stewards a little bit later, but we'll leave that for now. A very, very late lunge there from Fine Doctor. Rugworth writes off that lap. He's not happy about that, obviously. He wants to change something now that he's in a position that he doesn't want to be. He's got his work cut out for him here towards the end of the race. He comes out of the pits. He's down in P6, crucially behind Aussie Hypnotic there. And a cut track penalty as well for some point at the end of the lap. but I think he'll probably have every opportunity to burn that as the race goes on. Onto a fresh set of softs then for the Lexus driver. He's going to be looking at chasing down Aussie Hypnotic. He needs that podium position. This could be huge for his championship hopes. He needs to score every point he can here while he's ahead of Daddy, while he's ahead of Ando, and while he's battling with Aussie Hypnotic, because this is very, very important for his championship. So he comes around the final corner for lap 28. Aussie Hypnotic, does he have to pit again? I'm not sure if he's taken the medium tyres yet. Hopefully for Rugworth's case, he does need to pit again, but we'll find out as the race goes on whether that is the case or not. So Aussie Hypnotic in the Chevy, heading around to T1 for the 29th time. Actually, heading further up the field, Fine Doctor, obviously having gotten the better of Rugworth, has found himself with 5 seconds of clear air. On the soft tyres, can he close the gap to Slappers? There's not enough time for him to catch right up and go for another move. But we are coming to the crunch time at the end of this race now. Will we see any late last-ditch pit stops for these drivers? Is anyone going to be in towards the end to take that medium stint? All three of the top 4 go around again for lap number 30. So if anyone's got another pit stop to make, it's going to be at the end of this lap. So Rugworth down in P6. He's made all his stops. He's actually going for a move on Aussie Hypnotic there. Aussie Hypnotic shuts the door on him at T1 there. We'll have a look at that once again very shortly. Oh, Rugworth comes out just on the inside. Can't quite get alongside there, heading towards the S's, but he's showing his intentions very early to Aussie Hypnotic here, making it clear he does not want to stay behind the Chevy. Pushing him around the S's now as they head around turn 3 of the S's. Turn 3? Turn 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Heading towards the final corner. Fine Doctor into the pits to finish his soft stint. Oh, Rugworth looks to the inside of Aussie Hypnotic. Aussie Hypnotic does not pit. I don't know if he needed to or if he simply couldn't because he was on the outside of Rugworth there. But Rugworth has very crucially got ahead of the Chevrolet driver, but he's not going to take it lying down. He heads into T1. They're coming out right behind Fine Doctor here. Oh, they're side by side through T1. Rugworth gets pushed to the outside. He's on this AstroTurf. No! Aussie Hypnotic gets himself a 2-second penalty for pushing him wide. Unsure if he genuinely did or if Rugworth just rounded a bit too deep. But that was hugely important for the championship now. So Aussie Hypnotic takes P5 away from that driver. P1, Slappers Mate, comes across the line to take another victory in the series, showing what he's made of as the series champion once again. Rioff comes across to take P2 in the BMW, a deserved finish. Night King steals P3 at the end there. Fine Doctor in P4 in the Subaru after a very, very fast race from him. Aussie Hypnotic takes P5 just ahead of Rugworth in P6. Those two with an awesome battle towards the end there in that race. Cosmic Spirit in P7. An excellent result for him. He'll be very happy with that, especially finishing ahead of this man, Ando, after that race. Not the best result for the Gridline Racing driver. And then further down, Chef Todd, Benjo GLR, after being lapped, and Daddy down in P9, I believe it was. But wow, what a dominating performance from Slappers there. Pole position, fastest lap, clean race, absolutely brilliant from the reigning champion. So quickly move over now to the race results. Slappers Mate in the Beetle takes away P1 with an excellent race, dominating performance, showing his class, as we've been waiting to see from him all season. We saw signs of it at Tokyo, and we've now seen it well and truly in action here at Suzuka East Course. Rioff takes P2. An amazing performance from that driver to hold on to that position. Almost didn't see much of him during that race purely because there was so much other battling, but he was all out on his own, doing a great job of just putting those laps in and sticking with that position. Night King in P3 towards the end after taking advantage of a late pit stop from Fine Doctor. Maybe a strategy change there for Night King that really got him that position. Aussie Hypnotic and Rugworth with an amazing battle towards the end. I wish I could look back at that, but unfortunately the race finished before we could have another look. But absolutely crazy. Unsure if... I think Aussie Hypnotic must have burned that penalty at the line, that 2 second, and just stayed ahead. So, admittedly, he did lose the time that he was penalised for it. So I don't think the stewards need to look at that too much, whether it was his fault or not. Unsure, but no position changed technically because of that. Fine Doctor really throwing a spanner in the works there as he came out of the pits for that final lap. Absolutely crazy. Cosmic Spirit, very quiet that race, started off right at the back. I think he got off his mediums early and found himself in the mix with Ando and Daddy. But with a great result, finds himself in P7 ahead of both of those drivers. Ando, aka the captain, finds himself in P8. He won't be happy with that performance, but there's always next week. And he can take pride in the fact that he's had such a good series so far this season. He's performed very well every race up to this point. A little bit of a car disadvantage and maybe just not quite with it today. Finds himself in P8. Chops 1983 in the GR Supra finds himself in P9. A little bit further down than what we were expecting from him. That'll have a big effect on his points for the championship. V Papa AT, aka Daddy, a fan favourite driver, down in P10 for this race. He won't be happy with that position either, but he'll probably take solace in the fact that he's not far away from Ando, so he can definitely understand that it's partially down to the car and not just down to the skill of the drivers. Chef Todd in P11 and Benjo GLR 19 down in P12 in the 911. So a very, very interesting race. Pretty action-packed, one of the more action-packed races we've seen. I did really enjoy that one. It was good stuff to see. And good to see a couple of different faces at the top of the order. Slappers, obviously, we've already seen him win a race this season. But Rioff, Night King, Fine Doctor, Aussie Hypnotic, and Rugworth, that top six, they're not names that we're used to seeing competing for the top positions. And I know we're going all the way down to sixth there and talking about who finished in sixth and saying it's a top position. Even though it's out of the top five, it's sixth. It's not really the best result. He was in the mix up in P2 and potentially challenging for P1 early in the race. And even towards the end, he had a bit of bad luck towards the end. He was heading off at T1 on the final lap. So I'm sure he can hold his head high after that race, Rugworth, and know that he put in a good effort and did a very good job. Aussie Hypnotic in fifth, another consistent high-level result for the Chevrolet driver. He's just scoring consistent points throughout the season. I don't know if that'll be enough for him to overtake Rugworth at the moment on the standings, but Rugworth will definitely keep his position from Daddy down in P10. Ando down in P8 because he obviously hasn't outscored him here. Aussie Hypnotic will have now overtaken Ando, but those three positions, that final step on the podium, the final race of the season, is going to be huge for that final step of the podium. There's going to be a big battle for that one, and it's going to be very, very interesting to watch. Night King in P3, he hasn't had much said about him this race. He was all on his own for most of it. Just a good strategy, good laps, consistent race, and he finds himself in P3 at the end of it. That's an awesome point score for him. He'll be very happy with that. Comes away with a good tally from this one. Rioff in P2, another person we don't usually see up this end of the field. An excellent result for him in the BMW, and will do well for his points as well. Good stuff from him. So, I'll open the floor up to you guys now. That concludes round 11 of the National Touring Car Championship. I need a drink because my throat is killing me after calling that one. But I enjoyed it. I think that was one of the best races we've had all season. Perhaps apart from Tokyo was very exciting. The slipstream battle made for some excellent racing, especially towards the end of the second race. Oh, I remember that race. It was like 5 guys could have won it. We had guys coming up from the back, and then someone got a penalty on the last corner. It was huge. Splendid commentary. Thanks, mate. I appreciate the compliment. I had a good time commentating that one. The last couple of races we've had in this series have gotten a little bit repetitive as they've gone on. Bathurst was one. It was quite a long race, as well as Le Mans. Le Mans, obviously, a long track as well. Got a little bit stagnant during the middle before the strategies all came together and people started battling again towards the end. But that one was pretty action-packed from start to finish. No worries, Ando. Happy to be a part of it. I really enjoyed that one. An unfortunate result for you guys, but as I was saying, I think the car playing a big part in the difference in quality on the field and stuff like that. Could see quite a different race this week. Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool to see a shake up and see different drivers competing for the front. And a race like this, where you fastest guys are a little bit disadvantaged because of your car selection, and the others who are perhaps not quite as quick as you guys, don't quite have the pace, find themselves with a car advantage. It makes for really good racing when you get these guys together because as much as there is a little bit of racecraft to be learned from some guys, when you've got a combination like this and a track as simple as this one, there's not a lot of learning to be done, so the skill gap is a little bit smaller. So the faster guys are not quite as far ahead as they would be on a more difficult track because there's only so many corners you can pick up time on. So really good for those guys. So short tracks, good. Handling tracks make a difference, although you wouldn't want to see that all the way through the season because you do need the guys with the power cars to come out and really dominate every now and then. You can't have all handling tracks through the season. I think I don't know if you guys knew before the season started what the track lineup was going to be, but you could base your car on that. Obviously, that could be very interesting to see. But obviously, a lot of you guys go with your heart and you go with the manufacturer that you really love, regardless of whether the car's any good or not. So and that's what you like to see, and I'd prefer that everyone pick that way. But importantly, if you do that, if you pick your car without knowing the tracks, if the organizer withholds that information on purpose, makes for good car choices, makes everyone pick their patriot team, the team they love, and the manufacturer they love. But then it's on the organizer to make sure that the tracks balance out the power cars versus the handling cars versus the all-round cars. So throwing a track like this in has really mixed up the standings, and it's really good to see. But you couldn't do it every week, otherwise you're looking at an inaccurate representation of how good everyone is. But it was really good, man. It was really good to see some much closer racing. The last few races, obviously, we've seen Daddy or we've seen Ando just way out the front with no trouble at all, just racing, putting in laps. And as much as Slappers was doing that today, there was a moment where Rugworth had the opportunity. He'd undercut him. He was on the undercut, and Slappers was in the pits. There was just a moment where you were just like, is Rugworth going to come out in front? He just might, he might do it if Slappers maybe has to take fuel on or something like that. But Slappers, absolute masterclass, pretty much completely untouchable that race. Obviously, we saw Rugworth catching him a little bit towards the end, and then Fine Doctor as well catching him a bit as well. But Fine Doctor still had a pit stop, and Slappers was good to the end. So it was just a great performance from him there. Cheers, Adam. Listening to you while driving really adds to the experience of the race, does it? I've actually found because I compete in the commentated series as well for Sector 1. I can't listen to their commentary while I'm racing because for starters it's a little bit delayed, and I feel like it would be a little bit distracting as well. But it's cool. It's cool that it adds to the immersion a little bit, and I'm glad I can do that for you. That's what I'm here for. But the cool thing will be to watch it back and see yourself get some screen time. If you do, I don't think you got too much that particular race, Chops, but you did get a bit of a shout out, I think, in the qualifying. But unfortunately, not involved in quite enough battles, I think. What you got to do is you got to be really aggressive and dive up the inside of someone, and you'll get some screen time. That's how you get some screen time. Either that or be up the front, It's great, love it, and you can use it to gain more info when racing. Oh, okay. All right, I see what you're thinking. Interesting. I'll make sure to include more technical details. So who's going into the pit when, what tyres they're on, what they're going on to, things like that. We'll look at that later on, but we'll see. Like having an engineer. Daddy says, Ando, when you blink your hazards, are you trying to tell me to work together? Oh, yeah, interesting. Hazard communication is a difficult one in this game and in real racing as well. it's kind of hard to figure out what someone's trying to say when they're communicating with the hazards. So too many mistakes from me at the back. Yeah, it was a tricky track, that one, and that first corner really caught a lot of people out. So you're not alone in that one, mate. You're absolutely not alone. But that was a good fun race, and I really enjoyed commentating on it, and it made for some awesome content. Benjo says thanks for the stream on the thing. I haven't read through the chat, but there's a bit of stuff here. Yeah, Night King. There's a congratulations there from Ando on on Night King. Night King with an awesome result up in P3. That's amazing for him. He'll be stoked with that, I think. Chop says, nah, too many mistakes from me at the back. Oh, I've already read that one. Sorry. First podium, happy with that. Yeah, Night King really had a good race, and that Beetle doing really well there. The crazy syrup guy. Just found my PS2 memory card. Oh yeah, nice. That's old school as. I remember those. Nice one, Adam. Going to watch it back now. No worries, man. And we'll cut it up and chuck it on YouTube as the race goes on. Yeah, looks like there's a bit of a word there from Rugworth on. I think it was Aussie Hypnotic who was up his inside, and then Rugworth drifted wide, put a wheel on the Astro, and lost a position. Yeah, he got put onto the Astro one way or another. But Aussie Hypnotic did get punished for it. It wasn't enough to change the position, but he did get a 2-second penalty. We'll see if the stewards have anything to say about that, as far as changing that up or anything like that if they need to. But that rounds out round number 11 of the National Touring Car Championship. One round to go next week. Unsure which track we're heading to yet. I need to check into on that. But the battle for P3 is going to bear watching. That is going to be a huge battle. We've got 3 people contending for that position at the moment. 3rd, 4th and 5th. Rugworth, I believe, is still going to be in P3. Aussie Hypnotic may be tied on points with him, or he may be 1 or 2 points behind. And Ando's going to be 5 or 6 points adrift of both of them, because he was a bit further down the field that race, so he's lost out on a couple of points. So that battle for P3. P1, MJ Scatters, pretty much all sewn up for the season. And Daddy in P2, I think, barring the points from Aussie Hypnotic and from Rugworth there, I'm not sure how much they closed it down to, but it was a 30-point gap going into that race. I don't think they're going to have enough to overtake him at the final race unless there's like a double points or something like that. So I think P2 is pretty much sewn up, but that battle for P3 is going to bear watching. So make sure you tune in next week and check out the race, because it's going to be a bloody good one. But thank you all for watching. I will hang about and chat for another 10 minutes or so. Brands Hatch next week. Brands Hatch is going to be an interesting one, because that's another handling track. So the Astons are going to struggle there once again. So that's a big deal. That's a very big deal. So that's going to be a big battle then between those 3 drivers, because I think we know at this point through the season. So looking at that battle for P3, we'll go into it a little bit more in depth next week. I'll see if I can do like a really cool analysis on it. That'd be cool. So we've got Rugworth currently in P3. I think he is outpaced slightly by Aussie Hypnotic. I think Aussie Hypnotic is just a little bit better on raw pace, and Ando is faster than both of them on raw pace, I think. Just looking at it from an outside view. So you've got that particular order, and I think you reverse that order, and that's the current order in the championship. So on top of that, going into the race, Rugworth in the Lexus, Aussie Hypnotic in the Chevy. I think those 2 will be slightly better suited to Brands Hatch than the Aston, which will give Ando a little bit of a disadvantage. So we're looking at a pretty level playing field between those 3 guys. I think the pace difference between Aussie Hypnotic and Rugworth is pretty minimal. And I don't think it's enough to really worry about between the 2 of them. I think they're going to be very level on pace, and because of that disadvantage that Ando may have, I will have to confirm that it is slower around Brands Hatch over the course of the next week. But I think due to that little pace disadvantage that Ando may have, it's going to even it out between the three of them, so they could have a really good battle on track. So that's going to be very exciting. But in any case, that's the end for that one. I'm going to hang out and chat for a little bit, and then I need to go have a quick rest and get ready for Nations tonight, because I am excited for Nations. All right. I might plug the wheel and do some laps too. So, Rioff says, we have Brands Hatch next week. Yes, very good. I did read that just before. I'm reading it again for some reason. V Papa AT or Daddy says, I'm keen for Brands Hatch. It's more for the Beatles, but I have so much fun there. Big fan of the track, are you? That's good. Raced it last week in the Integras. I'm sure you'll remember. But yes, good track. Enjoyed by a lot of people. A lot of people really, really do like that track. So we'll see who out of the group does, because it tends to be a bit more of a UK thing. But there will be a couple of people here who are fans, and that'll make for some very interesting racing, I think. There we go. Plug the wheel. Hands off the wheel while it calibrates. And I'm going to have to switch over my sound to my headset so I can actually hear myself racing. And then we'll probably jump on Bathurst, do some time trial. Okay. But how's everyone feeling after that one? That was a good one. That was very good fun. And it's really good to see Ando and Daddy, who obviously we've seen them at the very top of the field for most of the season, and they're finishing down towards the fringes of the top 10 on that one, but still in very high spirits. So, you know, really cool, really cool. None of that, you know, no being a sore loser, no nothing like that. Good attitude, good positive outlook, and a big congratulations to the guys up the front. So really awesome to see. And obviously taking solace in the fact that that they did have the car disadvantage for that particular race. But it's good. It's good. I'm very happy to watch that race. It was good fun. I need a drink. Oh, I'm so thirsty. So much talking. Ooh. Alright, if anyone wants to jump into some Nations practice, you're more than welcome to join me. And we'll turn speech chat back on, I think. Okay. I'm not even on the keyboard, but it's permanently set me to reverse. Look. Can I drive like this? Cool. It's permanently drive in reverse. Awesome. Oh shit. Oh, it's so awkward. I've glitched myself really hard here. This is cool. I like this. Eee. See if we can. Oh man, I'm just turning the wrong way.
Said IGTG man, thanks for today. I really enjoyed it and I'll watch your Nation stream tonight.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Said
I'm actually locked in reverse. I'm actually locked in reverse. That's hilarious. Reverse view. That's awesome. Well, I'll see you later on, man. Thanks for tuning in, and good racing today. We'll see you tonight for Nations. turned too early. Whee! Oh, no, there's the corner. Okay. Oh, I'm turning the wrong way. Ah, I turned it too early. Ree! Righto. I'm going to head out then. Because nobody's able to hang about today, so we'll have a chat later on for Nations. So, make sure you tune into Nations later on tonight. I'm competing in the top 16 superstars for the first time, and I'm shitting bricks. But that's brilliant. So, yeah, looking forward to it. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.